Donnacha, you're very welcome onto the show.
Hi Keith, it's great to be here.
Grand, good stuff indeed. So tell us, you're actually from Limerick, but you also spent some time living or working in Kerry as well, do you?
That's right, yeah. I was born in County Limerick in a place called Killonan. It's about 6 or 7 miles outside the city. But I suppose I've been living in Kerry for the last 7 years or so now. So I'm up and down from Kerry to Limerick all the time.
And you had to travel from Kerry today.
Yeah, I made the trip from Kerry today, so I found out how long a journey it is, but it's well worth getting here.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, thanks. So tell us, how did you actually get involved in music?
I suppose I grew up listening to music from a very early age. I would have, listened to music since I was kind of, 4 or 5. My parents both were involved in music from an early age, so it was a musical household. So I would have listened to a lot of the kind of music they listened to. I would have soaked in lots of different kinds of music, folk, jazz, blues, you name it, everything, and kind of started teaching myself, I suppose, the mandolin early when I was about maybe 7, and then I moved on to the guitar when I was about 9 or so, something like that. So.
And have you always taught yourself music, or have people taught you along the way?
I suppose I've picked up a few licks and tricks here and there from other people as well. Yeah, playing with other people, but I've mainly really taught myself.
Cool. Yeah. Great. And you've actually been doing this quite a long time, have you?
Yeah, I suppose I'm playing all my life, really, So I've played with various different bands. I played with bands of different types. I also, I played in a punk band when I was really younger. I played in kind of more of a poppy band after that. I played in some sort of bluesy kind of style bands. I lived in Italy for quite a while, so I played with some bands over there, 2 different bands, our own stuff and some sort of bluesy, jazzy sort of stuff.
So you have been experimental, all the genres and bands. Any strange or weird names of bands that you've been in?
I was in a band called the Hitchers, which was kind of, got a serious punk influence from Limerick. I was in them kind of in the early 90s. Then I was in a band called The Charming, which was very punky, very poppy actually, the total opposite really. And we had a girl up front on vocals, so it was a different sound to the sort of, it was a much softer sound than the punky sound before that.
Right. So you've had a range of different experiences and stuff now.
Yeah, lots of influences. Yeah.
So then did you just want to decide that you wanted to do a solo career then after all that then?
Yeah, I sort of I suppose I came back from Italy kind of about maybe 10 years or so ago, having played in a couple of bands there. So I kind of started really doing my own thing after that once I came back. So I brought out an EP called Reasons in 2005, which was a 3-track EP. Which is really just stripping it all down to just acoustic guitar and vocals. So I've been concentrating on that since then.
Mm-hmm. That kind of stuff. Obviously then did you do like a huge promotional thing to get gig venues to get you to play and things like that? And
yeah, I mean, it isn't easy kind of just appearing out of nowhere, and sort of just, playing. But I played as many gigs as I could. If anybody said, play a gig, would you play a gig tomorrow night anywhere in the country, I would have gone and played it. I would have put the guitar in the boot, set it up, played the gig, turned around and gone home. Anywhere. It didn't really matter. I was prepared to do that. And I think you have to do that.
You do, don't you?
Yeah,
that's the way
definitely.
the industry is. And you kind of still have to do it now, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose, when did you actually first start writing any songs?
I would have started writing them when I was really young, like kind of 10 or 11, kind of, they would have been very basic, obviously, but, kind of throwing together some ideas for verses and, kind of like, the poetry idea again, just kind of putting that together and trying to come up with some sort of a melody to match it. And sometimes it would work the other way around. You'd have a tune and start that way. But generally with me anyway, I tend to have a tune in my head and the words kind of come at the same time, and I have to go away straight away and sort of get away and sort of get them down there on a pad or say them into a mobile phone or do something so that you don't lose them, because I tend to forget them very quickly. So I think
that happens to a lot of people, doesn't it? Yeah, you do have to try and record it some way. Yeah. A lot of people are saying dictaphones are the way to go and record your lyrics or melody that you're humming along to or whatever you've got. Yeah, it's kind of mad that way, all right, isn't it?
Yeah,
I have to say. So obviously that's the way it's working for you. Just in terms of we were talking about gigs and stuff. Are there many gigs that you've played that are kind of well known?
I played I suppose one of the most well-known ones really would have been the Electric Picnic. I played that the year before last, I really enjoyed that. I mean, I'd never been up there before, so that was really great. I played some songs and instrumentals and that. And also, I played some, reasonably big venues around the country. I played in the Olympia once. I played in Sheemsa Tíre down in Tralee, which is, 450-seater kind of theatre. Played support to some people I really, whose music I always liked a lot. I played support to Freddie White. I've played support to the band Director, kind of more, from a more modern sort of take on things. I've played support to Sheila Chandra, who's kind of a world music kind of singer, and played lots of music festivals, folk festivals, that type of thing, really, So.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Now, the Electric Picnic, was that just a small little stage that you were playing at? Yeah, small setup. Yeah, and a lot of a lot of unsigned artists would get to play like the little tents or whatever that are there. Do
it's not easy to get on the bill, I suppose. Yeah, But I was delighted to go.
Delighted to be there. Yeah. And with the Olympia, were you supporting any artists at that one?
At the Olympia, it was a long time ago with a band. I played support to Gavin Friday.
Okay,
that was quite a while ago, and. Yeah, that would have been.
Any particular favourites out of that now?
Out of that, whoa! I have to say I really enjoyed the Electric Picnic for what it was, because it was really, really, you just went up and did your thing, and it was a nice atmosphere. I thought it was a good atmosphere with the other musicians. I always enjoy playing Sheemsa Tíre as well, and I've also enjoyed playing down in Cork. Any of the singer-songwriter nights, have always been great fun to play.
Yeah. There's a lot of them in Dublin.
There's a lot in Dublin too.
Yeah, there's not so many in the country, which it can be difficult to find, can they, at times?
I think usually, I mean, for me at the moment, it's kind of they're usually on a kind of a Tuesday or Wednesday night. So if you want to do that, it's difficult to travel or work your schedule around that. So I think you need to be doing a couple of gigs back to back in one town.
It's kind of the way, isn't it?
I think.
And if you can poach radio interviews in between all that as well, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
indeed. So, is there any other artists then that you've played alongside? You mentioned Gavin Friday there.
Yeah, that was a long time ago now. So, I mean, I've played with lots of Italian musicians that wouldn't be well known over here. That type of thing as well. But I suppose most of the stuff I've put out there has been my own from now on. It's kind of been, apart from the band work that I did in the early days. I've kind of been doing solo shows really.
Yeah, I assume that you pal with a lot of musicians around Limerick and Kerry and stuff. Do you?
Yeah, I mean I know lots of people that play music or playing music in some capacity, whether it's kind of for fun or to try and put their own stuff out there. Yeah, so I mean I would have teamed up with lots of people down through the years as well. But now I'm kind of doing it as a solo operation, mainly because it's just easier to manage, really. I mean, you don't have to sort of make sure that 3 other people can make the gig on the same night and all that sort of stuff. I think, particularly when you're writing your own stuff as well, it is important that everybody's on board with the songs. So then I think you either form a band or go solo. And at the moment, I've kind of decided to do a solo thing.
A lot of bands can fall out because if one member can let them down, can't they? And they don't show up for various stuff, and things can be let down. When there's always someone good in the band that's doing something positive, and everybody, and then you get let down by someone else. So it is, I suppose, what you're saying is that it's true to say that when you're working on your own initiative, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think nobody can let you down then, You just got to get the car to the venue, play as well as you can, and go and do the next gig after that, and promote it yourself if needs be. But, yeah, you definitely need help on all that as well. But, I mean, in terms of the music, I think it's good to try and tour solo for a while until you find out the kind of sound you want, and maybe bring some other musicians in for a bigger sound at a later stage,
And do you find as well that you need to get other musicians then to play alongside at different gigs or something, or do you just meet people at various gig nights as well then?
Well, I was touring a little bit with a bass player from Kerry. His name is James Kennedy. He's on the album actually, the new album and the previous album, and we did quite a lot of stuff together, just the two of us. So that worked really well as well. I really enjoyed that. So it was just bass and guitar. So,
yeah, that's really good. Yeah. And just talk about. You released the last album about 2 years ago, did you?
Yeah, the previous album is called Carnival of Colours.
Okay.
And it was out in 2009. So, I released that in April of 2009. And I had, I suppose, a lot of ideas for that album for a number of years. And then they all sort of came together that year, really. I recorded it in Killarney in a studio called Sonus. And it's now located sort of out the Cork Road, outside Killarney. It's run by a guy called Tony O'Flaherty, who's a great engineer and producer. He's produced lots of well-known artists as well. So yeah, it's a great guy to work with, and also James, the bass player, and Anya Whelan, who sang backing vocals as well. So yeah, there's quite a lot of people there.
Plenty of people involved in that. And just talk about how do you get the artwork and how do you get it all made as well? Oh
yeah, I mean. That took a long time.
I'd say it did.
That album took ages, actually.
Okay.
Because, just trying to come up with some loose ideas, get some photographs taken, the usual story, but trying to actually get the artwork together took quite a while. I got a guy to assemble the artwork and send the artwork out to the production house. And, most of those CDs were actually produced abroad.
Okay.
So I had to wait for quite a while to get them back.
And I suppose as well, was it quite expensive to get to get them made and stuff?
Total, right?
In total, yeah.
In total,
right.
I spent approximately, I would say on the first album about €10,000.
Okay, right. That really is expensive, isn't it?
And on the second one, more or less the same.
Okay. So it hasn't. So for you, it hasn't actually gone down in price, because I think a lot of people are getting slightly reductions due to the recession now at this stage.
A little bit. You can cut some corners, all right, but I think, most of the studio time is still expensive, and the mastering and production costs maybe have come down a little bit, all right, in terms of producing the CD itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Okay. So, talk about I suppose the new album that you're putting out. You're putting it out next month, yeah? Yeah, I'm gonna
hold off until April. Really, it's all ready to go and everything. But I'm just gonna wait until April, early April, to bring it out officially. Okay, so I'm gonna do some launches around that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I know. I was saying even before we come on air that there's the whole idea of Paddy's Day, Mother's Day, and Easter, and you don't really want to clash with all of those events when you're trying to release your own material, because you're trying to get people to actually listen to your music and try and maybe buy it. And so it is very tricky, isn't it, with the market? You have to plan certain times of the year when you're going to release your stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there isn't really specifically a good time. If you do it over the summer, people could be away on holidays. If you do it in September, people are just getting back to normal, particularly, say,
school and
students
stuff.
in school.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like that,
so, I think April isn't a bad time, because it's giving it a bit of lead-in time to the summer. And
the first 2 weeks are Easter, so
that's right too.
So you just have to watch out for that as well.
Watch out for that one too. Yeah.
So it is always a tricky dilemma to get your head around, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I had thought about bringing it out at the start of the year, but then after Christmas and stuff like that, people, it takes until February by the time people are kind of tuning into stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in January and February were kind of just in studio recording a lot of the time. I found that anyway from talking to people, and there wasn't really many gigs on at all.
No,
and stuff like that.
It's a quiet time for that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I think people are out there now all at the same time trying to release their material together. That's right. So it's a funny one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. And I mean, it flies by as well, because I mean, if you, like, by the time you have an album out, like 2 or 3 months pass, and then what do you do next? Do you bring out a second single off the album, or how do you make it? Do
you write new songs, or what do you do?
Usually you're actually working on the next album anyway.
Yeah, you are, aren't you? Yeah, if you can, yeah. And so tell us then, what music do you actually like to listen to?
I like all sorts of stuff, really. I mean, if I was to check the iPod there would be everything from, funk, folk, jazz, blues, absolutely everything you could possibly think of that I used to listen to when I was, when I was younger. I like traditional Irish music. I like, lots of modern singer-songwriters. I like lots of rock bands, I like tons of stuff. But I suppose of late I've been listening to, I like Canadian songwriters a lot. I like, Ron Sexsmith in particular. I really like him a lot. I still like Elvis Costello and stuff like that. That kind of stuff, I really like that kind of stuff. I think they've kind of got the the melody, the lyrics, the arrangements. I'm still a big Van Morrison fan. Like there's lots of stuff I like.
Yeah, no, I like. I'd be into Sarah McLachlan now. She's from Canada.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know Brian Adams is, and various other people. So
Leonard Cohen.
Yeah.
Joni Mitchell.
Yeah, there's some really talented artists from there, isn't it? Yeah. But
well.
Obviously there's a lot of talented Irish artists as well. Do you do you want to name any Irish artists
that you name any Irish artists that I like?
Or are you actually friends with lots of people as well that you want to talk about?
I'm trying to think actually, in terms of people that I like that are out there now. I mean, there's loads. I mean, there's loads. I mean, of people that would send me stuff and that I listen to, and I think is absolutely great. In terms of people that influence me, I suppose I really like Freddie White as a singer-songwriter. I think he's just great. He's been around, doing his thing, played all the gigs and toured around quite a lot. So I really think he's got a great stage way on stage, or stage presence about him in that. So he'd be kind of up there for me anyway. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And just going back to the album as well. Have you released a single, or are you going to release a single from this album, Level Crossing?
Yeah. Well, I've released, I suppose, Duty Free as the initial one, and then after that it'll be Head in the Clouds is the next one after that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just talk about some upcoming gigs that you have. You mentioned Shocked and the Gaelic as well.
Next week, actually, Shocked and the Gaelic, next Tuesday.
Great.
I'm playing on campus for the students at the Institute of Technology in Tralee. That's kind of an hour-long thing, so I'm going to do some songs and instrumentals at that. That's my next gig that I have coming up. Then after that, it'll be kind of getting ready for the launch in April. Really.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put it all up on the website anyway. It's DonnachaToomey.com. There's a Facebook page there as well, facebook.com/Donnacha Toomey. And there's tons of stuff up on SoundCloud and all the other usual
Reverb
sites.
Nation and all those.
All those.
I know everyone's using all that stuff now, isn't it?
Yeah,
we've gone away from the whole MySpace era now. That's
gone, that seems to have kind of died, really.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's all Reverb Nation, Breaking Tunes, and
that's
all
right.
These.
And Bandcamp as well, and all these. Yeah.
So what's the plan? Is there going to be a launch in Limerick or Kerry or both, or what way is this?
I think I'm going to have to do the two. Really.
You're going to have to do the two because you're kind of based in the two now, and you have friends in the two as well.
Yeah. So the last album I launched it in Dolan's in Limerick, so I'll probably try and do something similar for this one, and then there's a couple of places I could do it in Tralee. Most likely either Shimsatira or something similar again.
Cool.
So I'll put all that stuff up on the website as well.
Good stuff. And in terms of Dublin, have you any ideas on what you might do?
Yeah, I'd love to do some stuff over the summer in Dublin. I'd like to try and organise a couple of gigs, maybe back to back, and come up and play them here. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
So I'll try and organise that too.
Yeah, because I know a girl, Emily Whelan from Donegal. She's been trying to do that every 2 or 3 months. Come up and play 3 or 4 singer-songwriter nights together in a week and stay with friends and things like that. So obviously trying to do something like that is something you want to try and organise, isn't it?
It is. I think you need to do it in a couple of weeks or maybe months in advance even to try and get it to all fit together. So hopefully June or July, I'd be definitely up for doing that. Yeah.
That'd be something really good for you to do. Anyway,
I know, it would be great, and especially with the new album out as well. So, but I mean, it at the moment it's on iTunes, it's on CD Baby, those sort of sites. It's on Amazon. But I mean, I think it would be nice to actually just officially release the physical CD.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do next.
Which can be hard to do now these days with the download area, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think if people really, really like music, they'll come to the gig and then they might buy the CD and they'd like to have the actual physical copy to take away. Because sometimes you don't really like having just a blank CD with some sort of a marker.
Yeah.
Telling you who's on it and what tracks are on it.
We burned a copy of your CD there. Kind of funny, all right. Yeah. Indeed. Tell us, do you have any hobbies that you like to do apart from music?
Music, I suppose I'm buried in music really most of the time. I mean, I like getting out and about. I like kind of walking and getting out in the fresh air, that sort of stuff. sport-wise, music seems to have taken over all that area, that stuff now. So it's my sport is playing the guitar.
Were you following sport on time or?
Once upon a time, but not anymore. I know Arsenal could have done a little bit better last night. But they still put on a good show though.
They did, yeah. And are you into Gaelic football or anything then as well?
Yeah, I would have played lots of sport, But I suppose now I follow it. I'd listen out for it and stuff like that. But I don't.
It's kind of turn on the telly and go, the score was, and then back to play music again. Is it?
More or less.
It's just something to take a break for 5 minutes from the music, isn't it? Just to listen to sports results and various other things as well. Yeah. So obviously then, the plan is you're going to have 2 or 3 launch nights in the country then, and different things, and then try and come up to Dublin, and obviously looking at other areas to go to as well then.
Well, I mean, I did a gig last summer in London with a friend of mine called Jerlane, actually, and who writes some really nice stuff, and so we're planning on doing a gig in London again in this place called the 12 Bar Club. It's in I suppose it's very central. It's actually not that far from Chinatown.
Okay.
But
Central London is what they call it.
Yeah, it's a nice club, really.
Okay, yeah. And would you look at your Italian connections as well then?
Yeah, I mean, there's always room to do that. I have a guy that I used to play with quite a lot, and there's always invites to go over and play with them. So, yeah, could definitely open up that again. Without a doubt. Yeah. Yeah,
that'd be something for you. To do. It'd be really good. All right.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I suppose you're going to put out the second single, which we'll play now in a few minutes before we finish up, I suppose.
Yeah.
So is that really the plan, that you'll just stick with the 2 singles, or would you look maybe later on in the year probably put another single out then and try and just give the album a final plug then?
Yeah, I had thought about that too. I mean, like, actually it's funny, the Head in the Clouds single, the second song on that, or the B-side, let's call it, or the it's not a B-side anymore, but it's the bonus track, let's say. A lot of people have said to me, that should have been the single.
Okay, you can kind of get that, can't you, from people? Yeah, I always find if you pick up an album from, just say, a popular artist, and you'll find that they've released 3 singles, but then you find, say, track 4 or track 5, you go, well, actually, that song's better than the 3 singles they put out. You can sometimes you can gain that opinion, can't you?
Definitely. Oh yeah. I mean, it's very difficult for you to judge it yourself which one to put out. At times.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the one people will go for, the one that they think they should be hearing on radio a lot. On high rotation or whatever on radio. But sometimes it's the grower that will actually do the one.
So that's obviously something to consider when you're actually listening to people saying what particular songs they like, that you should try and maybe follow what they're thinking.
Yeah.
I suppose that's something you'd probably think about then as well.
Yeah, I think you need to sometimes just take a step back from the whole thing and let someone else look at it.
I suppose as well, if you have a song that's like 3.5 minutes and it's kind of an upbeat, happy type song, then you're thinking, this is the radio song.
This
is the single to put out. So obviously if you have a couple of those on your album, it can be very tricky to pick which one or which 2 songs or whatever that you really want to put out.
Definitely,
yeah.
Without a doubt, yeah. But I think that all you can do is just go with your gut feeling on it, really, and hope for the best, really. Yeah. But I mean, I definitely think about another single, but at the moment it's just 2, Duty Free and Head in the Clouds, and we'll see after that, really.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, Donnacha, for being with us this week on the show.
Keith. Yeah, thanks a million.
It's great to have you on, and for making the trip all the way from Tralee.
No problem.
Fair play.
No problem.